Hey everybody, welcome back to the Chris Claremont X-Men Comic Club. I am Chris Anderson. With me as always is my good friend, John Coates. How you doing, man?
Oh, I am doing pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty good is better than not good.
Yes.
We're going to take a look today at X-Men number 99. We're almost to the 100th issue. Wow. Death Star Rising. This is 1 full year before Star Wars comes out.
Oh.
So they beat Death Star to the punch, which is kind of interesting. Well, still only a quarter, 1976. It's pretty good value, if you ask me.
Oh man, that's a great quarter. Great value. If you can get this for 2 quarters, that's still awesome value.
Yeah. This came out 1 year before I was born. So
we'll have to have a little celebration when we hit the Chris Anderson birthday issue.
The October 1977 birthday issue. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Cool cover. You got Colossus in space and or everybody in space, really, but Colossus trying to punch out of this bubble. The Sentinels are throwing at them.
Yeah, great action cover. I love the old issues where they're giving you like a fight or they're giving you something that has to do with the story.
Yeah, and I like when they have speech bubbles on the cover too.
Yeah.
Like, even if we escape the energy spheres of the Sentinels, how can we survive in the vacuum of space? Which is a great question, because as you turn to the first page,
also it's interesting to note how many of these early issues Colossus is sort of the front and center character. Even like he's falling off a building in the last one, but he's right up front. He's right up front. Yeah, on the cover when Nefaria is attacking them and they're falling through the sky again. You know, like they're really trying to put him front and center.
Yeah, I mean, he is the biggest one, so...
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, how do we survive the vacuum of space?
Well, check it out. They are in the vacuum of space right now and have no air or any protection whatsoever. They should be cracking up and falling apart at this point. Their blood should be frozen. But this is comics, people. This is not real life. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah. And as always right now, Chris Claremont author, Dave Cockrum on art. Frank Chiara is inking.
He is.
This time.
I feel like just from this very first page that I'm liking the inks better than I've liked them thus far.
Yeah, this Banshee looks great.
Yeah, and I think the coloring looks great on that too.
Yeah, there's some interesting coloring in this issue. It's starting right off the bat, and it says Michelle W. is the colorist.
Michelle Wrightson.
Oh, is that what it says in the classic?
Yes. Don't know if that is any relation to Bernie or not, but you know, how many people are named Wrightson?
She didn't do the last one.
Interesting.
So there could if it's a Wrightson in comics, you know,
good chance.
Mid-70s over here with Marvel, like I bet it could be a connection.
Good chance. Good chance. So in the last issue, we ended on a cliffhanger where this group of X-Men, Banshee, Wolverine, Jean Grey, and Professor X were trapped on a space station where being run by Sentinels. They tried to break out. They thought they were just in a base. They didn't know that they were in space. And when Banshee breaks through the wall, well, here they are. Death Star Rising.
Yeah, and I mean, for anybody who's a 90s X-Men fan, post Claremont, basically the same setup happens in the Executioners song with Cyclops and Jean, and they think they're in a base and they bust out and find out they're on the moon.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You know, and so it's a whole, it's like the same kind of thing, like in space. And so, you know, little connection there. So now we get this we get this interesting kind of double stories going on at the same time.
Yeah, a 10-panel grid. Now that is very rarely done at this point in comics. Has not been done in this book thus far.
Yeah, it's sort of like it's kind of catching you up really quickly to get to a point where the action for the issue can get moving.
Yeah.
So we get on the left-hand side, we get the Sentinels flying back out of the base to recapture Banshee and Wolverine and Jean and take them back inside. And Lang basically tells them, there's no way to escape because you're in space. Not now, not ever. And then on our right-hand side, we get Peter Corbeau, our astronaut, talking with Cyclops about like his theory that they're in space, and Cyclops realizes they're on S.H.I.E.L.D.'s orbital platform in space.
Yeah. I thought this was I think this is the part where it's kind of interesting because is this where they're talking about Cerebro and like how it is also like a supercomputer? Maybe that was in the previous issue. But yeah, no, I think maybe that was the previous issue. I wanted to point it out, and it's okay if I do it now anyway, because it was pretty interesting how it talks about how even getting a wrong answer will lead it to the right thing, and it's basically was like predicting the internet.
Yeah,
I thought it was a pretty cool thing, in like a previous issue, and that's how they kind of talk about Cerebro, which obviously the internet is not going to come around for civilian use and for another 20 years at this point, really.
Yeah, and with like the last issue and this one, like the Sentinels have this technology where they can scan and tell someone's a mutant, and Cerebro's kind of working on the same thing.
Yeah.
But I always wonder, like, how does that actually work? Like, what are you actually scanning? Are you
right?
You're not like scanning genetics from a distance and looking at their DNA.
Yeah, so, it's like the ether or something.
Yeah, it's just like it sounds good. We're like, they scanned and they discovered they were a mutant, but you can't actually, if you actually think about it at all, you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense.
No.
But we're not going to think about it too hard because
we got our first already. We got our first classic X-Men insert.
Oh, is it showing them become the fake astronauts, huh?
Yes, it shows them becoming the fake astronauts, and it shows that Storm has created fog over Cape Canaveral. And they are sneaking in with trench coats as the astronauts because of the fog. It's delayed this launch, and they are able to suit up, and then as soon as they're suited up, Storm lifts the fog.
I love that. Just like throwing the trench coats off, and you got your costume ready there, and then so good.
Already in her S&M bondage outfit. I love it. So funny. All right, let me pull you back up on the screen here. All right.
Yeah, so here we go. So basically, Peter Corbeau, our astronaut, gets him on what was going to be sort of an unmanned shuttle into space. And then we also get some little news blurbs about people freaking out about mutants after the Sentinel attack in New York City, and that they learned that Sentinels are back, and everyone's like, getting in brawls and stuff, talking about the mutant problem.
Yeah, and our newscaster here is Geraldo Rivera.
Yeah, good.
Good job hasn't there. Tried to unlock Al Capone's glove compartment yet. That'll be a couple years down the line.
Mm-hmm. Do you think they sent him a copy when it came out? Like, hey, we put you in this comic.
Yeah, I imagine. I wonder what the story behind that is, because they don't really say they say Geraldo. They never say his last name. There's all sorts of weird things that are happening during this time, like the Saturday Night Live crossover and things like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I got a copy of that in here somewhere.
Oh, that's awesome.
Pretty funny one. Yeah, so they would have like these weird cameos by celebrities in the Marvel comics at this time. But yeah, I mean, he must have known about it.
Yeah, probably. Maybe he was a reader. Maybe he was a fan.
Maybe.
So here we go. The astronauts sneaking on, and you get just a glimpse through the face shield of the one here that it's. Well, it could be Nightcrawler or Storm.
Yep.
Actually. So okay, they're going up into the shuttle, and we get some cool little character moments here. Storm taking the helmet off, and again, you know, being worried about being trapped.
Yeah, she needs to be free.
Claustrophobia under control.
Yep. As we saw before, she likes to be as unclothed as possible and free. So putting a helmet over her head is not going to do.
Yep. And everyone else has got their helmets off except Colossus. He's sweating and he's got something going on. Yep. And before they take off, he like transforms into his steel form and just blows his suit off and yells, "Mikhail!" And that's the first mention here of Colossus's older brother.
Yep, older brother who died in he was a cosmonaut, right?
Yep. And cosmonaut, test pilot, one of Russia's first cosmonauts.
Right. I love that Colossus face there. With the wrinkled brow.
Yeah, so good. You get some good emotion in there, but he's still's got that cool steel look.
Yep.
Yeah. So cool, and that's a good little backstory moment there. You know, have a Russian brother who was a cosmonaut.
Yeah, this is great because they're all having sort of a different reaction and are all kind of finding their place and, you know, doing what they need to do in these scenes here.
Yeah, and you kind of get to learn like one little new thing about each of them. And they're getting to go, and like so, everyone's got their own thoughts, you know, as they're launching. Corbeau and Cyclops is, of course, thinking about like Jean and I can't lose her. Storm is trying to be calm because her friends need her, so she's got to remain calm and remain in control.
Very leadership qualities there, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, probably better leadership than like if Cyclops is thinking about one person and she's thinking about the team.
Yeah, totally.
Colossus, still thinking about his brother who died, and then Nightcrawler, feeling bad for Colossus, but then also thinking to himself that like what a great adventure this is, going to space, and if his comrades in the circus could see him now.
Yeah. Well, he's like the swashbuckler, he loves adventure. So
Yep. And
great shot of that shuttle. Yeah.
Great layout for a page too. Like you get as the clock is ticking. Yeah, getting their thoughts. Good stuff.
Yeah, putting panels down the left-hand side of a page is often doesn't work because you're reading it down and then you have to sort of direct the eye back up somehow, and this does like a perfect job of it, even counting it down numerically, so no matter what, it's pulling you down, and then the lift off, and then you follow it back up with the rocket, directional. Beautiful page.
And you've mentioned it before, Chris, is how Cockrum's sort of mastery of like a page layout and leading the eye to really get that sort of narrative story really flowing.
Yep, almost every page does that.
So now we get our business here. They're going to space. And here's a little more mention of like solar forecast, solar storms that are going on, and how dangerous that is.
You can see the big flare coming off the sun in the background there.
And then Colossus, I think he's like a little motion sickness.
Mm-hmm.
And they explain it by being like zero gravity can cause you to be sick, but it'll pass. And then we jump to a great little insert, which we've seen most issues are starting to have now, which is this great Claremont, like he's just going to switch scenes, drop in like a page that's kind of hinting towards like where he's going to go in future issues.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like I would say it's a B story, but in some cases it's almost like a C story, or just like a plant, like you set up like a planted seed.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes a long time to get to them, and you don't exactly know what's going on. Like if you've never read any issues beyond this, you're just like, what's going on here? But we're over here in where are we at here? Dublin, right?
Yes.
Over here in Ireland. Yeah.
Yep.
And we get this guy shows up at the post office. He's got a letter to mail to Sean Cassidy, aka the Banshee, back in America. And then he leaves, and we get this shadowy figure in the rain with this stick who just blasts this guy.
Yep.
And says, poor foolish lawyer flattery. My cousin could sooner stop the morning sun from rising. Because before that, the guy was saying, oh, I've warned your cousin and he'll stop your mad plans.
Yeah. And we don't know who this is, or, all we know is that we can imply that this is Banshee's cousin.
Yep. And he said, yeah, right here, like, we don't get to see him, but he's like, cousin Sean, you'll stop Black Tom, won't you? At least you'll die trying.
So this is the first time we're introduced to Black Tom.
Yeah.
Black Tom, I actually only know through the X-Men trading cards, Jim Lee trading cards of the 90s. I don't recall ever reading a story with him in it.
Oh, well, you're gonna get a good one. So I can't wait. I can't wait for you to get to those, man. Yeah, Black Tom.
Yep. We've got another insert. We go back to the Hellfire Club here.
Oh wow, he's keeping the Hellfire Club going in classic X-Men there.
Yep. And let's see here. So we've got the Hellfire Club. They're all sort of shrouded in these hoods, and they're talking to Lang here, and Lang saying, everything is going. Our aim is here is to isolate the genetic X factor that differentiates mutants from baseline humans, and ultimately reproduce it at will, creating whatever powers we require in anyone we choose. And you can see it's sort of like the solar flare is kind of messing with it, I think, here too, which is interesting. So it says we have 3 prisoners here. And he says, what if their team attempts a rescue? And they said they'll have to find them first, Shaw, which is doubtful. Well, as we know, they're like almost there. Should we succeed, Lang is more than capable of dealing with them. And you see inside the Hellfire Club, there's like very scantily clad, helpers, I guess, like almost like maids helping them out. Now they're taking off their robes, and this is it's talking about the how this is the chairman of the Hellfire Club, and he just talks again about how this is going to eliminate Sebastian Shaw because he is a mutant. So again, a second insert that sort of talks about that, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Just dropping those layers.
Yeah.
And then let's see, yeah. So now we're back. Ooh, and look, we're back on the... Oh, did yours do the same kind of page turn? Or is your page turn messed up?
Mm-hmm. Nope, okay. We're on you right now.
All right.
Same page turn.
So here we go. So the X-Men, they're showing up. Lang doesn't quite know that they're on board yet.
Yep, trying to fool him.
Yeah, they're trying to fool him, but then all of a sudden they're like, hey, the mutant detector is going crazy. That shuttle is full of muties. And so they send the Sentinels out to get them. And everybody's like, they're like, okay, everyone put your suits on in case there's a problem. And Nightcrawler's like, well, what about Colossus? He doesn't have a suit.
Yep.
And so the shuttle is getting blown apart. All of a sudden, there's a hole in it. Storm's like flying out, decompressing.
Yep, she gets sucked out.
Yep, and Colossus is sort of suffocating. And so Corbeau just flies the shuttle right into the space station.
Boom, right through the walls. Yeah. Taking out a bunch of Sentinels in the process.
Yeah, which is what a great move. Just fly it right in there.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of the fight is on, and Storm realizes there's enough sort of air in space still, sort of cosmic storms that she can control, that she can fly and do her thing.
Yep. She can make lightning in space.
Uh-huh. And this is another page where we get this like crazy coloring. Like look at all the yellow and everything's drenched in these purples and blue. Like it makes you wonder, like, is that a mistake, you think? Or you think that this is on purpose? Because yours, they redo it.
Mine, they redo it. So mistakes like that happened all the time, I think.
Yeah, but it could also be, on purpose.
Maybe, but I don't know why that would be, unless there was some sort of bright light getting them. I don't know. That's an odd one.
Yeah, it is, right?
I think my guess is that somebody put down the wrong number when they were doing the color guides.
Yeah. And Colossus throws like some piece of metal right through the middle of this Sentinel. Then this guy's sort of gassing Cyclops again. And Nightcrawler just like takes this, like rips this like pipe off a wall and has this great just smashes it. It's like a super violent robot death.
Yeah. Nightcrawler has his moment here.
Mm-hmm. And Colossus, like he's freaking out because Storm is still outside.
Yes. Yep. And again, we get Colossus sort of like being very attached to Storm in the beginning here.
And Nightcrawler makes mention of it, like in his mind, he's like, Colossus is fighting like a man berserk, like a man fighting for the woman he loves.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we got 4 pages of ads before we get back to it. And here we go. The Sentinels, they're just getting wrecked.
Yeah. Nightcrawler is bouncing all over the place. Nailing them. It's great.
Yeah, great little seesaw move here.
Yep.
Turning Colossus into this like cannonball.
Yep. Knocks the head right off the thing.
Yeah. And then this is where Cyclops mentions that these Sentinels, like they're dying too easy. Like they're not as tough as the original models built by Trask.
Yes. Oh, you know what? I want to go back. Can you turn back to where she's creating the storm? Storm is creating the storm.
Oh yeah, out in space.
Yeah. So in the last one, we talked about how Professor X was like scrambling the brains of this the Sentinel. And then here too, at the very bottom left page there, it says his screams, the fear in it, that Sentinel sounded almost human. So is this how you honor your parents' memory, Aurora? By breaking the oath that you swore long ago that you would never take another's life? So it almost does feel like they're trying to say that there's a human mind in these things.
Yeah. Like they are some sort of a cyborg, something going on there that's making him a little more than just a programmed robot. That's a good note too. Like this is where we get the first mention of kind of this oath of Storm that she's never going to take a life.
Right.
And that's going to come up quite a few other times in X-Men, and it gives her some internal conflict. Like she's trying to do her job but not hurt people.
Right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And she even thinks right here, like, well, but if my duty as an X-Man requires me to take a life, well, then maybe I should just quit being an X-Man. Like, already.
And then the moment passes.
Yeah. And then she's like, I gotta waste these robots.
Yep.
So then here we go. And here we get, Cyclops is still worried about Jean. And Colossus is like, Jean, what about Storm? She's floating in space.
Yep.
And Cyclops is like, back off. I know how you feel. And here Colossus just wigs out on him and just says, you know nothing.
Scott just feels so clueless and kind of a dick throughout all of these so far.
Yeah, that's one of my notes for this issue is like Cyclops is kind of an a-hole.
Yeah.
In this issue. And so he's freaking out, and then all of a sudden, he's surprised, like, Storm is back.
Look at that face.
He's like, huh?
And there again, you'll notice what, like you talked about before, where he sort of draws doesn't draw in the eyes, so it's almost like they're covered in silver, which is amazing.
Yeah, like there's no eyelids or anything. When he transforms, it's just like a sheet of metal.
Yep.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
And like, okay, and here we go. Colossus is super happy and like picks her up into this bear hug.
Yep. Great drawing of Storm here. That profile. I love that drawing.
Yeah. And it leaves me, and then like she mentions, well, I've always been very difficult to kill, young one.
Yeah, young one. It's a little kid.
Yeah, and so like it leads me to like two questions. Like, I wonder what the age difference between them is here. Like, it's like they were initially setting up Storm to be this much older, character who maybe she was living in Africa as this goddess for a lot longer than we think.
Mm-hmm.
And it also at this point really seems like they're maybe kind of setting up a potential romance.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They've kind of been like leading to that for a while. It seems like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's something with the drawing in that picture. How great of a drawing that profile of Storm is sort of juxtaposed with how weird of a profile Colossus's face is. And I think that the reason is because his eye looks like it's placed way too high. And I think that it looks like it's placed way too high because that's not actually his eye. That is his upper eyelid that is closed. And they just colored it white like it's his eye. And it's supposed to actually be closed.
Oh.
Which would make it a stellar drawing as opposed to a wonky one. Just by that one little color difference.
Mm-hmm.
Wild to notice just the little tiny things like that.
And like this is like one of the first times he's drawing like a straight profile of Colossus in his metal form. So probably trying to figure out how do I still do all these reflections off the planes of the side of the face.
Yeah. And I think the colorist just had a misstep there. That happens all the time.
Yeah. And here we get now Jean's contacting Cyclops through his mind, and he realizes, okay, here's where they are, and they're in trouble. And he basically sends everybody to get Wolverine and Banshee. And then he's like, get them free and then come join me. Because, he's going to rescue Jean on his own.
Right.
And they try, and Storm's is kind of like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Probably more Sentinels around.
Mm-hmm.
And here's one of his a-hole moments. He's like, I'll handle them, Storm. Right now, I've given you an order. Obey it.
Yeah.
And then this crazy looking Cyclops face here.
Yeah. Add that one to the Cyclops close-ups.
Yeah. That's an awesome. It's another one where it's like doesn't look like Cockrum.
No, yeah, it very much looks not like Cockrum. It's the inker that is part of that. We get another inserted page here as they're about to wait a minute. No, yeah, you don't have this page, right? No.
No, not at all.
No. So as they're about to go off, what's his name? They don't ever talk about where he's supposed to go. So Scott's like, yeah, you come with me.
Yeah, he's going to take the astronaut with him.
Yeah. And then we go to how they're being held captive again. This is a super weird. Here, I got a dog in my arms here. This is like a super weird thing to me. I think that's supposed to be Banshee.
Look at how fat he looks.
Yeah. And no clothes on. He's naked here. Really weird. And then, you got these kind of like recruits over here like, yeah, we'll take care of these guys. And he pulls out this little like Swiss Army knife, like he's going to get them. And then bamf, Nightcrawler just pops in here. And Wolverine's like, Storm comes in and says a hurricane gust of wind should take the fight out of these two. And Wolverine says, leave Plumpo for me, darling. You got a gun, bub? Go for it. Take your best shot. And it's funny, you can just barely see it, but he drops that that's that Swiss Army knife here, and they just didn't color it in. And then he goes for his gun instead. And that's it. But it's super weird to see this big. Look at how big Banshee looks here. He's
wow.
He's like Beast. And I wonder if there wasn't a miscommunication that it was somebody thought like it was old Beast or something.
Yeah.
Because he's not in his costume either, and we know that they were in their costume before, so it's kind of an odd one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, see, it was like the first panel on that last insert page is the same as this one, as the regular page, and then they did all new stuff, and then they drew that weird looking Wolverine in yours to replace.
Yeah, he looks really weird here. Look at his chin. It's huge. Wild choices.
Oh, yeah. And then it brings back to here we go. The Professor and Jean.
Oh, so you do have that panel where he pulls the astronaut with him. Okay, got it. Yeah. Interesting. All right. Yeah, okay. Huh.
Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, boom, Cyclops shows up. Yeah, and he's like, she'll be a lot more alive than you, scum. And then he's telling Corbeau to free Jean and the Professor because he's going to deal with Lang and just basically like beat him to death.
Yes.
Or attempt to. He's like, answer me, Lang. And Jean's like, Cyclops, you're killing him. Stop. Just like crazy moment there.
Spider-Man loves Hostess pies.
Man, me and you, Parker, whew, can't beat it. And this is where now they get ambushed.
Yes.
And
bam, blasted in the back.
Yeah. Cool panel there.
Yep.
And the ultimate undefeatable enemy, Lang, is look at how busted up he is from Cyclops.
Yep. Another very non-Cockrum looking drawing.
Yeah. And then here comes a very Cockrum drawing.
Yep.
With the rest of the X-Men charging in. and they can't believe what they see because they're looking at the original X-Men.
Whoa, crazy. Now, this is a little bit confusing. Why is Cyclops on their side? Is he the others? Is there two Cyclopses? One's knocked out?
Yeah, I guess we'll have to find out. I mean, he's got the OG really thin visor on too.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
And a Jean in costume, and they're calling the new X-Men imposters, and Storm's like, we're not imposters. And there's even a professor saying, attack them, kill them all.
Kill them all.
And on the
cataclysmic battle issue.
Yeah.
Tale of triumph and tragedy. X-Men versus X-Men to the death.
Death.
Whoa. Yes. What the heck, man?
Yes. And that is how X-Men 99 comes to a close.
Love it. Love it. We're just like cliffhanger after cliffhanger.
Yep. Yeah, great endings in these issues. Great action, great setup. We're getting all kinds of character development now.
Yep. Yeah, and it's just getting better and better as it goes along. And then for the classic X-Men issue, we got another Bolton story here that goes back to the Hellfire Club again. And we see Shaw dancing here, and we see the human White King and White Queen.
Oh.
Yes. And so they're kind of talking to them about some stuff. And, Shaw is like, you were born to wealth and I forged mine from nothing. Ah, the American dream, old top. He says, by the way, the latest reports from Stephen Lang are everything that we hoped and more. Project Armageddon looks to be a complete success. Wouldn't have been possible without you, Sebastian. Rest assured that the Council of Chosen would not let such a stalwart service go unrewarded. So he's talking about how he's gonna make him into the Black King, and the Black Queen. And she is sort of like, I think that this guy wants you dead. I think that his plan is to kill all the mutants and not you. And he's like, hogwash, woman. That's not what's happening here. And so he asks this concubine or whatever she is here. There's enough.
Tessa, right?
Yeah.
His assistant,
Tessa.
yeah.
Enough. Tessa, Edward Buckman's behavior, observation, and analysis, please. Is she a robot?
She comes back way later, and she has sort of like a robotic kind of mind.
Okay.
Like she's not a robot, but she has like a person with her thinking capabilities kind of mimic a robot kind of thing. It's like a Mentat in Dune.
He says the White King's solitude may indicate a genuine regard, Shaw. Alternatively, it is a classic military strategy to disarm one's foe by pretending friendship prior to an attack. That isn't helpful, woman. It is the best I can do without any additional data. You're both determined to drive me mad. Much of what I am, I owe to Ned. And yet, Emma, can you hear my thoughts? And so Emma Frost is pulled here. She is not the White Queen at this point here. She is just Emma Frost. I don't really know what she is. And she says, always, Sebastian, even from the farthest reaches of the world. Hades, are all of my women determined to draw either a pint of blood tonight? Lourdes is worried. So like he is not listening to these ladies, and these ladies know what's up. You know, it's very much you know, him running this sort of patriarchy over these women who really know what's happening. It's kind of much like the real world, I would say.
Yeah, classic mistake, Shaw. Yeah. Come on.
So she's actually over at this his beach house, and from episodes prior, where Lang blew up the guy from the military, he survived, and she's nursing him back to health. And she says that as she's reading his mind, that is exactly what they're trying to do, is kill all mutants. And he gets mad and he smashes the railing here, and as that happens, a Sentinel comes for her. And so, he is like, I guess she is a mutant too. And he's like, take me to her now, and take us to her now. And she's like, I've never transported that many people before. He's like, do it now. Do as you're told. I won't be refused, woman. This guy's a real dick. So he transports her there. I'm not sure who this guy with the red beard is here.
Oh, is that Harry Leland?
Maybe, yeah. He just kind of shows up and they don't mention him. And they talk about his power, how the more he hits something, the more power builds up in him. And he's about to get blasted by this thing. It puts a rope around him. So this his Black Queen, as he refers to her, she comes and kind of tries to teleport him, but she's low in power because she teleported him so far. She doesn't go far enough, and a harpoon goes through her. Lourdes is her name, right? And so this guy, who did you say he was?
It's Harry Leland. He's one of the sort of inner circle mutants there.
Okay, so they never mention that. And he says, feel my power. I control the mass of things by concentration alone. I can increase yours to the point where you'll sink like a stone to the core of the planet. Oh, so he makes him like huge and just like crumples him. But not before I think he gets like hit by something. And anyway, Shaw comes in with his punching power and takes it out. His Black Queen here, she dies. And so they go back to they cut back to the Hellfire Club, and the chairman here, White King, all of a sudden pulls out a gun and shoots their what are these guys called?
Oh, they're just guards there.
Yeah, they're just their guards. Troopers. And then he just like executes all the rest of the human members of the Hellfire Club, and it makes him shoot the White Queen. And it turns out it was it was Emma doing it the whole time, controlling his body, making him do it. And he snaps his neck, and so now the Hellfire Club is all in their control. That's a lot to happen in one of these backup stories.
I was going to say that's a long backup story. A lot of Hellfire Club backstory he's dropping here. Sort of the mutant takeover of the club.
So it makes me wonder, like, all of a sudden in a next issue, are they just going to be like, this is already going to have happened? It's kind of interesting. Because we were kind of following, or actually, were we following them? Or were those insert pages?
No, it's all inserts from the classic X-Men. But in the original run, they haven't shown up yet. They haven't shown up at all. Nope.
Oh, so it's the classic X-Men pages screwing me up. Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Bolton drawing of Emma Frost. Is this the first time this isn't the first time we see Emma Frost, is it? Well, actually, because because
I mean, sort of as on a classic X-Men, but she hasn't shown up in
regular
the actual issues. No.
Got it. Yep. I just put my foot in my mouth the second it came out. Another awesome Art Adams cover. Look at look at Colossus's face there. So cool. And on the inside, we got Storm in space and this really cool space suit. Yeah. P. Craig Russell, ink and Art Adams. I mean, it's really, really cool shit. So, and that is X-Men issue 99.
That's right. And next issue, for issue 100, we'll get to the conclusion of this sort of Sentinel trilogy and find out what happens.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it. This is so much fun. So everybody break out your X-Men issue number 100. I don't know. Is it like a seminal issue? Is it like a, usually for issue 100 these days, if something even gets there, which nothing gets there anymore, they would make it some sort of crazy special collector's issue. Is it just like, it's issue 100?
Yeah, it's just issue 100. It might be not quite double size, but maybe it's a little bit longer.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Well, track it down any way you can. The Marvel Unlimited app, classic X-Men issue, which you can find in a dollar bin somewhere, I'm sure. Find the actual issue. Do whatever you need to do, and join us next week when we go over X-Men issue 100. John, where can everybody find your stuff?
I'm on Instagram at jdcoats, and my comics are available at dinobeast.com.
Go, people, and grab all the books on dinobeast.com because every single one of them is fucking amazing. There will be a really quick time-lapse drawing of the banner for this episode at the end. You can also purchase it, the original art, on my website. Go to that, and we'll see you next week. Join my Patreon to see my work before anyone else, plus score physical sketchbooks, mini comics, and commissions delivered right to your door, and reading my new books, Something Seems Off and Three-Headed Pigman, as they are made. Go to my website to order original art, commissions, and my books, Lost Angels, Spectral: A Showcase of Fear, Chaotic Neutral, and more. Gray Matter Drip, The Art of Chris Anderson, is available now from Cosmic Lion Productions. Here are the upcoming conventions I'll be at the time of this recording. And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. It helps spread the word. Thanks.